Hi guys, so this is I guess part 2 of my It's Okay to Be New video. I had meant to do one video and then the first one kind of turned into a rant, partial rant, let's say. So I didn't get to the details, but I want to talk just for a couple minutes, I'll try and keep it brief, about where and how to get started. There are literally hundreds and hundreds of books and websites, and if we're getting into websites, probably thousands of places out there for you to get that information to get started. But some, for me, kind of stood out, and I feel are worth, let's say, honorable mention of places that you can go for good information. Now, of course, you need to remember that anything you encounter in this path, you need to take with a grain of salt, because whatever someone else has written is coming from their experience, their path, their knowledge, and this is a personal path. So if something doesn't quite feel right to you, that's okay. Personalize it, okay? Sit down and consider, is this something that I believe? Is this something that I feel is true? Is this something that I can work with? Or should I change it a little bit? And that's just perfect. You can do that. There are tons and tons of books out there. Some of them are going to say one thing. Some are going to say another. Go with what you feel is right. Okay. Also, you'll find that some books are going to have the idea of you have to do it this way or it's not right. And some of the books that I'm even going to say, I'm going to recommend fall into that category. But, again, kind of take that with a grain of salt. There is no must. There is no have to. Do it how you are comfortable doing it, and feel free to kind of change up what someone else has done. That's just fine. But there are a couple books. I have some here. I don't have them all, but these are really the ones that I feel are great for that first year of study. Okay, start out, do your dedication, decide this is the path you want to take, and make an effort every single day to read even just a few pages. You don't have to read a whole book every day. You don't even have to read a whole chapter every day. Read 5 or 10 pages. Take 10 minutes and read every single day. Get some type of information in your head every day. The titles that I recommend that people start with are, there's a Dummy's Guide to this also, but this is The Idiot's Guide to Wicca and Witchcraft. Okay, there's a couple different editions to this. I think there's a 3rd edition, maybe a 4th edition out now. This is the 2nd. This is what it looks like. But it is absolutely packed full of information. It goes into each of the moons. It goes into how to prepare for a ritual, how to do a ritual, the Wiccan deities. It doesn't go in depth into other non-Wiccan paths, but this gives you a real good basis of information. Okay, you could obviously expand on this and follow things as you see fit, but this is a good place to get started. Another one that I think absolutely everyone should read is this one, the Everything Paganism book. This one actually goes into the different types of pagan. It talks about shamanism and druids. It talks about the Norse paganism. It talks about Wiccan practices. It talks about Wiccan gatherings and how to find other people who share your beliefs. And it's really a very well-rounded book. It talks about the different paths instead of just Wicca. So this one, for someone who, like me, who's eclectic, it was a great place to start, because it really showed me different ideas and different beliefs, and has allowed me to kind of pull from different places. Also, I think this one is great because it talks about sexuality, and it talks about the role of magic and ethics, which a lot of books kind of skip over, thinking, well, you'll find that stuff out on your own. But it's a really good place to start when you don't have someone who's willing to guide you and answer those types of questions. The next one I want to talk about is very specific. I actually read this book month by month, and I think that's kind of how most people I've talked to have done this book. But it's the Wheel of the Year, and it goes 1 month at a time and talks about, it starts with December and talks about this month in the wheel, what it means. It talks about different ways of celebrating or honoring this, this month and the energies in this month. So it's really a nice, just kind of starter. It's a nice, I think you probably read the chapter in each chapter in 15-20 minutes. So maybe take the first 2 days of a month, and instead of doing 15-20 minutes of reading of some other book, focus it on this book, and excuse me, and it'll give you just a nice idea of what's going on in that month, and kind of walk you through some of that first year. I actually keep it here next to my bed and still reread that information from time to time, because it is something I need a refresher on. The next two are, this one I'm going to put up here. This is one that I know a lot of people don't like, Silver Raven Wolf. A lot of people will say don't get her books, but this book is incredible. Seriously, if you want to be a modern pagan, or you want to be a modern witch, this is a book you have to read. Seriously, it has everything. You can read it cover to cover. Look how thick that is. Read it cover to cover. Read it, as you need the information. But absolutely everything is in here. Affirmations, how to make a witch's bottle, your Book of Shadows, how to set up an altar, let's see, the Witch's Pyramid, and the different Sabbats, and the different Esbats, and the Pantheons, and you name it, it is in here. And seriously, this is a book that I find is just completely indispensable. If it weren't for this book, I think that there would have been many times in my path that I was rather lost. So this is definitely a book that I think everyone should have. The other one that I think absolutely everyone should have is, this is The Complete Illustrated Guide of Witchcraft and Practical Magic. And this is wonderful. It is beautifully colored. Every single page is beautifully colored. It talks about history. It talks about different types of magic, different types of witchcraft. It goes literally culture by culture and talks about the different types of magic. Then it starts to talk about today's modern witchcraft and modern paganism. And then it goes into how-tos. How do you do this? How do you do that? What are different ways to go about bringing, prosperity or protection, or there's my daughter. All these different things. Really, this is, without a doubt, one of those books that I feel absolutely every person on this path needs to have in their library. There's also, of course, if you search beginner pagans or beginner witchcraft, you'll find a myriad of books. There's Buckland has the blue book that everyone tends to gravitate towards. I'm not a big Buckland fan, so I have a digital copy of it. I've never read it, but I know a lot of people love it. Another one that you want to look at is Kate West. Kate West has a whole line of books. They're all absolutely wonderful. I do not currently have them. I actually ended up giving them away to someone else who needed the information more than I did at the time. And Scott Cunningham. Once again, he's one of those people that everyone loves, and there's a reason for that. He is excellent. I'm sorry for his books are wonderful. I think it's his book, is it the Book of Shadows, that he does, that really goes into a huge amount of information and starter information. Now, you don't need to invest in books, but if you choose to, Madeline, you're shaking Mommy's, honey. No. Okay. If you choose to, I personally went through Amazon because you can get most of these titles, most of the titles I showed you here, for just a couple of dollars. But there's tons of stores. Check your local metaphysics stores, check your local bookstores, whatever you need to do to get your hands on them. Check the library. A lot of libraries have these books on the shelf. My local library, unfortunately, does not. They don't carry anything on this type of subject. But a lot of them do, so check that. If you can't get a book in your hand, or if you're someone who maybe has a family that doesn't really agree with your path, then websites are the way to go. Even if you have the books at home, websites are a great tool. They will give you a lot of information, but you need to make sure you're going to the right ones. Obviously, there's tons of Facebook pages. I'm not going to list all the Facebook pages here that you could look at, but I do want to talk about two web pages, two websites, I'm sorry, make that three, that are very, very good and desperately need to check out if this is the path that you want to take. And the first one is about.com. There is you can actually go on there and just search pagan and it'll pull up. There's I think it's Wiccan pagan.about.com, I think. I'll try and put the real one. I'll put the real one in the description. I'm not sure if that's it or not. My brain is kind of on the fritz at the moment. The other ones that I want to talk about, of course, is witchvox.com, and that will allow you to get into contact with groups in your area. That will allow you to find other people in your area. That will also allow you to access a huge amount of information and articles from longtime pagans and priestesses and priests and witches and you name it. Okay. And finally, there is paganpath.com, I think it is. Again, I'll put it in the description. But it really is a wonderful, wonderful website. It's the go-to website when I need to look at things. She has a wonderful section on metaphysics. She has a wonderful section on paganism and witchcraft. And really, if you wanted to, you could very easily turn that website into almost a class, taking each section and approaching it as if it were some type of textbook. It's really written that well, and there is that much information there. Other areas that you may want to look into, and I don't have the books sitting here with me right now, but I will make a list of them and probably put them on my blog, and then I'll just put the list, I'll put the link down below so everybody can get the books that I really think are need to haves. But other areas you may want to look into, of course, are herbs, crystals or stones. You may want to look into different types of meditation or physical exercises that, yoga type of thing that really can help your body to get into a physical state of calm and maybe a trance-like state. There's a number of things that you may want to look into there. Again, all of that is actually, or at least it all touches on. In this one, you're going to find that it touches on all of that. It touches on yoga, and it touches on Reiki, and it touches on DreamWorks and auras and tarot and runes. All of these are areas that you may want to look into. Like I said, I will put the basic stuff all on one list, and I'll list it below here so that you guys can have all that information. But those are the places that I would say, if you are just starting out, these are the books that I recommend, the authors that I recommend. If you can't get those, the websites are there, or the websites in addition to. And of course, feel free to contact me. Feel free to come to over to our Facebook page and ask whatever questions you have. We tend to approach them as a community, but you know, so you will get a number of different answers there. But I feel that's a good idea as well. I think that's everything actually that I wanted to get out there in this video. So I'm going to go ahead and say adieu. And if you have any questions, leave them in the comments, or contact me, message me, contact me through Facebook. I will happily answer any questions that you have. Have a good one.